Greetings and welcome to the first video in the trombone series. This is the introduction. This is going to get you started on playing trombone. We're using the Essential Elements book, book 1, for trombone. So this is a trombone. This is a trombone. So let's talk a little bit about the trombone. First of all, if you're putting the trombone together, you're usually going to have three pieces. You have the bell section, and you have the slide section. Notice there's a part that's a little higher on the slide section. So that's the part, generally you put it between your legs so that the longer part is facing toward you. And then on your left knee, you're going to hold your bell so that the slot where that's going to go in is facing the inside too. Then you just put them one on top of the other. And then you put that little screw thing on to make it lock in place. You want to have just a little less than a 90-degree angle there. And then the mouthpiece you put on like so with a 2-finger twist. The thing you don't want to do is this. If you do that on a trombone or any brass instrument, you run the risk of it getting stuck. If your mouthpiece ever does get stuck, make sure you don't let anybody take pliers to your instrument. Just bring it into your teacher, and they have a mouthpiece puller that will get it safely out. Otherwise, you risk a costly repair if one of the braces gets damaged. Alright, now when you're holding the trombone, first of all you're sitting feet flat, fanny forward, sitting up nice and tall. You're going to take your left hand, you're going to place it close to that square. Your thumb is going to go up over the brace on the back here. And then you're going to put these 3 fingers through the square. And then your pointer finger is going to go up towards the mouthpiece. Here's a couple of views of that. Here's the back view. Alright. This is going to keep it so your fingers don't get pinched. Then you're going to hold the slide with thumb and 2 fingers towards the bottom like this. Again, you don't want to grab it like this, because when you go in, you're going to pinch your finger, your hand right there. Okay, so 2 fingers and a thumb. There's a slide lock right here. That slide lock, when you let it loose, this trombone slide should go down. If your trombone slide is like that, it may either need oiling, or there may be a dent or a burr that needs to be taken out by your local repairman. Okay, so I'm going to put my slide lock on for now. So the parts of the trombone, we have the bell, we have what's called a tuning slide right here. Yes, this moves up and down. Don't move it. Let your teacher do that. It's for tuning. Then you have your slide itself. On the bottom, you have this water key. When you press it, like so, and you blow in your trombone, water comes out. It's kind of like on a cold day, or a warm day rather, and you have a cold glass of water, you get condensation, water vapors, and so the water will collect around the glass. So the same thing with the trombone. Cold metal meets your warm air, so water droplets form. Gravity makes it go to the lowest part of the instrument. The hardest part is you're little and you're short and you can't reach down like this. Sometimes you might have to use your foot to kind of help that, or just go like this and shake it a little bit. You can always even make a trombone train where the trombone section all helps each other out with that. But that's what happens if it's gurgly. You'll need to empty the water. When you're using your trombone slide, you may have some slide oil. Sometimes it's a spray, sometimes it's an oil, sometimes it's a cream. It's best to have your teacher help you with that, but just to give you a little clue, you would put your slide and put just a couple of drops of this oil on your instrument. And that is going to keep it nice and free of debris and make it move very well for you. Again, let your teacher help you with that. But for those of you whose teachers already helped you, this is just a little review. We'll put that there. Rule of thumb, always have your trombone slide locked when you're not playing it, but also always be holding your trombone slide up as if it's not locked. Okay? Because the worst thing that can happen is that your trombone slide falls completely off. And if it gets dented, then it's not going to work right. So you want to make sure you keep that slide on there at all times. Okay, so again, we're using Essential Elements Book 1 to get us started on here. We've talked about how to hold the trombone, 3 fingers in the square, thumb up, hand pressed against the slide section, finger up towards the mouthpiece, 2 fingers and a thumb holding the brace so that you can move it. It goes over your left shoulder. And now to make a sound, you're going to put your lips together and say, mmm. And you're going to pucker up. You keep the corners nice and firm. I almost like to think of it as pressing them against my teeth, and then your chin nice and low. Flat chin. See how flat that is? Okay? If you go like this, then you're not going to work quite right. So nice, flat, and firm. Strong. We call this the embouchure. When you do that, you make a spitty, farty sound like this. And that's how you make a sound on a brass instrument. For the trombone, so you can see the placement there. Alrighty, so looking at page 4 in your Essential Elements book, we're going to look at numbers 1 through 13 in this video. So the first one on page 4, it talks at the orange box, it talks about a long tone. Just playing a long tone is basically all that is. Number 1 is called the first note. You have note F. Notice underneath that F, you have a 1. What does that mean? That is your slide position. Let's talk a little about slide positions now. On your trombone, this is great practice, you have 7 positions. We're only going to use 6 because your arms are probably pretty short. So first position is all the way in. Easy to remember. Second position is out just a little bit, about an inch, 2 inches. Third position is your brace is going to be a little bit behind the bell so you could tap it. Fourth position is a little bit in front of the bell, so you could pat it if you tried. Fifth is a little bit more. Sixth is going to be about your arm's length. And then seventh is dislocating your shoulder. Don't worry about 7. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There is no 8th position, but we call it, when your trombone slide falls off, the 8th position. Alrighty, so those positions are going to be handy. One other thing to note is a lot of kids, when they start playing trombone, they like to go what I call 3.5. They play 3rd and 4th with the brace right in line with the bell, and that's 3.5. That's not 3. That's not 4. That's 3.5. So please don't use 3.5. Okay, back to number 1. Note F, first position, so slide is all the way in. Now, when you're playing, you might sound like this. Or you might get all sorts of different sounds. If you play too low, if your lips are too flabby, you'll get this sound. If you're too tense, you might get this sound. Something like that. So part of playing a brass instrument is being able to get that proper lip placement, the proper tension, and the proper air supply to get that right note. The note we're looking for is F. So a great idea is to use this video to play along just to make sure that you're getting the right note. Let's talk a little bit about breathing before we finish up with number 1. We like to use what we call a diving breath. If you ever dive into a pool, you don't go, you will drown. Do not drown. When you're playing an instrument or diving, you go like this. You fill up your tummy. You fill up everything to get lots of air so you do not drown. So in an instrument, using that same diving breath will give you a lot of air. Alright, so I'm going to use my diving breath, and I'm going to play number 1. We're going to play a long F. Then we're going to rest for a minute, because it says rest. And then we're going to play another long F, then we'll rest again. Rest for a second. You can hear that nice big breath. I take it through my mouth. Good. Looking at number 2, right above it, is an orange box, and it says the beat. The beat is the pulse of music. It's like your heartbeat. It should remain very steady. We often will count it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe in the video you can hear my foot. It's beating. It can be fast. It can be slow. But it's got to remain nice and steady. Also in that box, it talks about notes and rests. You have a quarter note, which is a beat of sound, and you have a quarter rest, which is a beat of silence. Music is always about sounds and silences. Sounds and silences. So looking at number 2, count and play, you have 4 quarter note Fs. Then you have 4 rests. Then you have 4 more quarter note Fs and 4 more rests. Now, we know that it's an F because it says an F in the note, but also by its placement on the musical staff, those 5 lines and those 4 spaces. You may have learned in your general music classes, every good boy deserves fudge, and the space, F-A-C-E. I'm sorry, but it doesn't work for you anymore, because you play a trombone, and like the baritone or the bass or the tuba, you use something called bass clef. So that means that all your notes are a little bit different. Everything's 2 off. So what we're going to use is using the lines from the bottom going up. We have G, B, D, F, and A. So the thing we often will use to memorize those notes is good boys do fine always. And then in between those lines on the spaces, those 4 spaces, we have A, C, E, G. All cows eat grass. That's what we're going to use to memorize this. So the F is on the 4th line up. So good boys do fine. We're going to play 4 Fs there. Here's number 2. Rest, 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 rest. Rest, 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 rest. Look at number 3. It says a new note. It's an E and there's a little B next to it. That's a flat symbol, that little B. So we call this note E flat. Underneath that, you see it says third. 3 for third position. Remember, that's just a little bit above the bell. Okay? Sounds like this. Okay, so let's play number 3, a new note. We're going to play an E flat, rest for a minute, and play another E flat. Ready? And then another one. Now we know it's an E flat, not just because it says E flat, but because it's on the 3rd space. All cows eat. We know it's a space because it's in between the line. There's no line running through it. Number 4 is called Two's a Team. Here you have 4 quarter note E flats, then you have 4 rests, and then you have 4 Fs. So we're going to change notes. So we start 3rd position, then go 1st position. Rest, 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 now F. Rest, 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 rest. Number 5 is called heading down. Note D. There's a 4 underneath it, which means 4th position. So your slide is going to go a little bit underneath the bell. Alrighty, you're playing a long D, then we have rest, and another long D. Notice again, it's on the 3rd line. Good boys do. That's why it is a D. And then another one. Excellent. Number 6 is called moving on up. So now we've got more notes. We go D, 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 rest, rest, rest. D, D, E flat, F. Rest, rest, rest. Notice when you have a slide position that you're repeating, you just keep it there. D, 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 rest, rest, rest. D, D, E, E, F. Looking at number 7, look above it. In the orange box, you have a double bar. A double bar says, the end. It means you're done. Congratulations, you finished that piece of music. Next to that, it says repeat sign. It looks the same as a double bar, except there are 2 dots. That means play it again. That is a repeat sign. At number 7, we have C. We know it's a C because of where it is on the staff, right? All cows. It's on that 2nd space up, all cows. So we play a C there. It's in 6th position. You can see the number underneath the note, which again is about your arm's length. That is your C. One thing you might notice when I'm emptying my water key, I go off to the side. One of the things that I have, which I find very useful, is I call this my spit ditch. It's just a piece of carpet, and I just keep it beside me so that the floor doesn't get all wet and yucky. No, it's not really spit. but there's a little spit, and it's water, and sometimes oil. So it's always good to have a little something to put, even a garbage can to empty your spit in. Your parents will appreciate it, or in my case, my wife appreciates it. Keeps the floor nice. All right, number 8 in your book is 4x4. So here we start C, and at the end you notice you have the double bar with 2 dots, which means you play it twice. So it's going to be C, 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 D, rest, 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 F, 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 E. Let's try it. Rest, rest, rest. Repeat and ready, go. Rest, rest, rest. Number 9 note is touchdown. You have a B flat. That little B again is a flat symbol. So B flat is also first position. Again, we know it's a B because good boys do fine always. So it's a B because it's on the second line. Notice your F is also first position, but an F is higher. There's F. Is B. So here's number 9, touchdown. Number 10, the Fab Five, starts off using the B, and there is a repeat sign at the end, the 2 bars and the 2 dots. So let's try number 10, the Fab Five. Rest, rest, rest. Repeat and ready, go. 2, 3, 4. Underneath number 10, we have another orange box. It talks about the bass clef, which is what you use. It just means the notes are different from some of the higher instruments. It talks about sharp, flat, and natural. So you've seen the flat symbol. Its notes are either natural, they're flat, or they're sharp. You don't need to know too much about that right now. Just know that F, D, and C are natural notes. E flat and B flat are flat notes. Also in the orange box, you see it says time signature. So when you see a time signature, pay mostly attention to the top number because that tells you how many beats are in every measure. A measure is each box of music. You notice that in all the exercises we did so far, there were usually 4 things in each box, whether it's 4 quarter notes or 4 rests or a combination of the 2. That means there's 4 beats in every measure. It's how we organize music so that we can find our place easier. So right now 4/4 means 4 beats in every measure. You also have the note names. So this chart is very handy because it shows you where the notes are on the trombone. Now we already talked about G, B, D, F, A, the good boys do fine always, and the all cows eat grass. So you can see the same thing on this chart. You notice there are more notes than that. You can extend the staff lower, and you can extend the staff higher depending on what kind of notes you need. Now, the lower a note is on the musical staff, the lower it sounds. The higher the note is on the musical staff, the higher the note is going to sound. I would encourage you to use the hand, the good boys do fine always, and the all cows eat grass to memorize your notes. If you need to, you can write your notes in for a while, because the big thing right now is just getting to learn your trombone, holding it properly, getting those nice breath, that good posture, going for a good tone, and just playing the darn notes. It's kind of hard when you're first starting out. So feel free to write your notes in for a while. Let's look at number 11. I would encourage you, if you want to write your notes in, that you would pause the video for a while so you can write the notes for 11, 12, and 13 in. So go ahead and do that if you would like to. And I'm back. So 11, we're going to go through what those notes are so you can check them. So it goes B flat, B flat, B flat, B flat, C, rest, 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 F, F, E flat, D, rest, rest. And then it has a repeat sign. Number 12, the notes are D, D, C, C, B flat, B flat, B flat, rest. F, F, E flat, D, C, B flat. Now you might notice that not all the B's have the little flat symbol on it. That's okay. So far that's the only one you know, so that's the only one that they're going to give you. The flat sign is actually in effect for the whole measure, so they only have to put it on every measure once. 13, it goes B, C, D, E flat, F, 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 rest, D, E flat, D, C, B flat, D, B flat, and it repeats. So let's play these. Here's number 11. Did you realize that number 11 is the same as 10 yet? Rest, rest, rest. Repeat and ready, go. Rest, rest, rest. Number 12 is first flight, starting on D, fourth position. Remember, low past the bell, no 3 1/2s. Repeat. Number 13, Essential Elements Quiz, starting on first position B flat. Once you've mastered these ones and you've got a pretty good idea of what you're doing, I would encourage you to move on to the next video, which is the white belt. We use band karate in my school district, and the link will be on the next page if you need a sheet to follow along. That's how we keep track of where we are. Hope this is helpful. Hope you enjoyed it. We look forward to some more tromboning. Have a great day.